Hi, fifth grade. This is Mrs. Kochera, and I wanted to send this out so you could have an example of the Family Culture Project. And before I start my example, I want to make sure that you know and understand that yours doesn't necessarily need to look like mine. It doesn't have to be in a PowerPoint or anything like that. I know before the school closed, we had some different ideas, and we're talking about a lot of different options for presenting this. So it's going to look a little different now that we're not able to meet in person, but that's okay. I still want to move forward with presenting these on Zoom. And I wanted to give you this example just so you could see one way of thinking about doing your culture project. Doesn't mean that that's the way you have to present. Okay, so in my slides, I decided to do a PowerPoint so I could easily share it. And then I also decided to use pictures. I didn't put any maps or artifacts or things like that. I just wanted to use pictures. Now, I chose to use pictures because for me, they help me tell stories. They help me share memories, and that's what's easiest for me. You might want to present an artifact like your favorite blanket that your grandma made you, or a favorite family recipe, and tell stories based off of those things. Or you might want to make an actual booklet of collections of pictures or drawings or stories about your family. But what's most important is I want you to tell me about your life. What's unique to you? What's special about you and your family? And whether that be maybe you speak a different language, maybe you're from another state, maybe you're from another country. But that could also be that you're a military family. It could be that you've lived your whole life in South Carolina and all your family's from South Carolina. That's what's unique and special about you and your family. And I want to know, like how you celebrate things and what are some things that you're interested in, and what do you do with your family? Basically, how do you live your life? Okay, that's your culture. So the first thing to know about me is I have a lot of brothers and sisters. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. And here are some glimpses from the past. And these pictures just bring back so many memories of growing up with my brothers and sisters. We were all really close when we were little, and we're still really close as adults. Okay, the next picture is one of me, and I did not pick this picture because of my awesome hairstyle, but I picked this picture because if you notice my plate, it looks probably just like a plate of green beans to you, but to me, that really just reminds me of my childhood and growing up in North Carolina. And every summer, my my grandparents, would stay at their house a lot, and they had a huge garden in their backyard, and we would always help in the garden. We would pick green beans and string green beans, and those were my favorite thing to eat when I was a kid, homegrown green beans from my Nana and my Pa's garden. So this picture just reminded me so much of my childhood. And that's why I wanted to include it. And it does represent my culture of growing up in the South and eating homegrown vegetables and spending time with my family. And then my next picture on this page is a picture of my Nana, and I included this because she still is a really big part of my life, and she was a great influence on me when I was growing up. But I would spend summers with her working in the garden. She taught me how to sew by sewing little pillows and dresses, and I'll always remember, sitting there watching her and learning from her. And then this is a picture from my college graduation, my undergraduate graduation, and I chose that because education is another important feature of my family's culture. My Nana in this picture, she worked in a school library pretty much all of her adult life. My grandfather, her husband, he was a school teacher, and then many of my aunts and uncles are also educators. So education is a really important cornerstone of our family's culture. The next slide, that's my dad and me, and I am wearing a crown. Yes, I'm wearing a crown because it was my birthday in this picture and we were celebrating. But on my dad's side, our heritage is Cherokee, Native American, and if you were ever to meet him in person, you can definitely tell he has very dark features, jet black hair, dark eyes, really tan skin, and I don't really favor him that much in terms of looks. I look more like my mom, and my brother looks more like my dad. They both have those really Native American features with the hair and the tan skin. I was always really jealous of that growing up. But my dad is, his bloodline is half Native American. And then here's a picture of my mom. And you can tell I favor my mom in looks a little bit more than my father. We have my mom's family, most are, you know, kind of distant relatives are descending from Europe, but most of my mom's family, they live in Boone, North Carolina. So a lot of my great aunts and great uncles and my great grandparents used to live in the mountains, and that also kind of sparks a lot of memories of my childhood, going and driving up the mountain and spending days in Boone and walking around and playing in the creek. So most when I think of my mom's family and our heritage, I think of the mountains in North Carolina, but kind of our distant ancestors, her lineage is more towards Europe. Okay, and then for my immediate family, when I think about my family's culture, it's kind of in two different, I guess I think of, I'm blessed to have two big components of my family. I have my dad's side and my mom's side, because when my parents, when I was little, my parents separated, and so I have, you know, a stepmom and I had a stepdad. So on the left side is some pictures from my dad's side of the family, and on the right side are some pictures from my mom's side of the family. So if you look at the top, you'll see that this is my dad's in the middle, and these are my, you know, brothers and sisters and some nephews there, and that's from a Christmas a couple years ago. My husband and I got to fly home from Las Vegas and actually get to celebrate Christmas at home, and that was a really big deal because being so far away, and Christmas is a big occasion for my family, so it was nice to get to celebrate together. And then underneath, the picture is of 4th of July. We were celebrating, and again, you can just see that spending time together and having quality time where we get to cook and laugh and you know, just be around each other is really what's most important in my culture. Okay, on the right side, that's a picture at the top from my wedding rehearsal, and as you can see, so these are all my brothers and sisters. The only ones that are not are the two little kiddos in the front, and then my mom is on the right, but the rest are my brothers and sisters. So you can see I have a lot of siblings, and they're great. My siblings are so important to me. Like I mentioned, we were really close growing up, and we're still very close. We call each other, you know, every week. A few of my siblings, we talk every day. So it's just really important to me to stay connected with them. And then underneath is a picture of my mom and a few of my sisters and my brother from my sister's graduation. Okay, and then a shift in my family culture came when I changed names. My maiden name was Hannah Cosby, and now my name is Hannah Kutchra because I got married. So now when I think about my family, I think about my husband and Ace, my puppy, and me. And so this is a picture from my wedding day. Okay, and then something that I think is unique to my family in particular is that we would rather spend time together and like go do something with each other than do presents. So I think that's kind of unique to us. Taking family trips and celebrating holidays that way is really big in my family. We would rather spend money on, you know, flying to see each other or taking each other out to dinner or something like that to make a memory instead of giving something. So the top picture, that's when my brother and his family and my sister came, and they, you know, took time off work and everything and flew out to Las Vegas and had Christmas with us several years back, and we went to the Grand Canyon, and it was just a really great trip, and it just really kind of reflected how we value spending time rather than giving gifts. And then the picture at the bottom was a year when I got to fly home from Las Vegas to North Carolina and spend Christmas with my family. So as you can see, Christmas is a really big deal. We try not to miss spending out Christmas with one another. Okay, and then like I was saying at the beginning, you know, what makes you unique isn't just language or heritage or where you're from. It could also be what is unique about your lifestyle. And one of the things that I consider to be a large part of my family's culture involves being a military family. And so this is a picture of my husband, and he had just gotten home. It's a special picture. He had just gotten home from deployment, and I was there to greet him and welcome him back. I think I hadn't seen him in about 5 months, so it was just a really nice day to finally get to see him and see him back safe home, safe at home. And so I know many of you guys can relate to that, having parents in the military and kind of knowing what that life is like, moving around a lot and having to deal whenever they have to leave and things like that. So that's a big part of, a family's culture if you have someone who's in the military. All right, and then these are pictures that I wanted to include because they make me smile and they bring up so many good memories that I could tell you stories about. So on the left, this is something that I think is really unique about my family. So, I have 4 sisters. Well, 3 of the 4 sisters this past year, had babies, had baby girls within 1 month of each other. So here's a picture of me holding the 3 little babies. They were, like I said, they were all born within 1 month of each other. So I think that's kind of special to my family that we have these 3 little babies from my 3 sisters, and they're all really close in age, and they'll get to grow up together, and it's just really sweet. They're so precious. The middle picture is kind of another picture that reflects my life as a military spouse. This was a really special night. It was in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace. My husband had a special Air Force graduation, and my dad and mom and my sister flew out to Vegas to support us and be at the graduation. So it was really nice. Okay, and then on the right, this is another Christmas. Like I said, Christmas is a huge, huge thing in my family with our culture. My sister flew out to Vegas and spent the holiday with me, and we had a bunch of friends over, and we spent all day baking because that's really something that's important to us, is baking, and we show love through food, and that's kind of a good way for us to communicate with each other and get quality time in. So we woke up early, we made gingerbread houses, we made cookies, Christmas cookies, we made a bunch of food, and it was just a great day, and it was just really so normal for us. That's just something we both really enjoy, my sister and I, and the rest of my family. And then the last picture I wanted to share was of my husband and my dog, Ace, because when I think about my immediate family and my family's culture, this is what I think about. I think about my little family that lives in my house and how important they are to me, and how important it is for me to show them that I care about them by giving them my time and my effort and doing nice things for them, like cooking and making sure I'm giving them enough attention and taking Ace on walks and things like that. So like I said, I chose to only use pictures and just tell stories based off the pictures about my family and what I think is important to us, what a little bit about our background and our heritage. But mainly to me, my culture, when I think about what is my culture, I think, how do I live my daily life? What's important to me? And, to you, that might be different. That might look different. Maybe at your home, you speak a different language, and that's really important to your culture, that you guys, your mom, your dad, speak a language that you have in common that's a little bit different from everybody else, and that's amazing. Maybe you have something special that you take a trip every year, and that's special just to your family. Maybe you have something unique where you have family members who live with you, like an aunt and uncle. So all of those things makes your family unique and different, and that's what I want to hear about. So no matter how you decide to share, whether it's a PowerPoint or showing pictures or holding up something that's special to you, basically what I want you to think about is, what is your family story? Okay? And that's going to look and sound different for every person because every person is different. So hopefully this example was useful to you, and if you have any questions, please let me know how I can help.